A video poem by Noble-Cordy. London, England. 1928. The year was 1928, July the 5th, I think. And I was on my way again, to McGee's Emporium of Fine Art and Antiquities. To sell a piece of art I had acquired, I won't say how. Only to say that I got it that day, from a man who'd trade beans for a cow. No one turned to notice as I walked through the front door. And no one looked to see what I had for them in store. I set it on the countertop and waited for my turn. Then old man McGee looked at me. "You're back, you have returned?" He turned and shook his head to the gentleman and said, "I don't know why I bother." Then to me turned and spoke, "I hope it's not more cartoon crap, or a drawing of your mother." The gentleman smiled and nodded his head and gave a little laugh. But his face soon changed when I took out the painting that I had. McGee rubbed his baldy head. "Where'd you get that, my lad?" "Wait a minute, never mind, don't tell me, I don't really want to know. I'll take a closer look and tell you if it's so." As he took out his magnifying glass, a small crowd began to show. And after a brief inspection, he announced, "It looks real enough to me. A fine piece of art by my friend, Claude Monet." The anticipation of the group, you could have cut it with a knife. Even I felt excited as one man yelled, "I'll buy it for me wife." The same man felt the need to take me aside and whispered in my ear, "I'll buy it from you, lad. £500, would that be fair?" I agreed to his offer, and then I shook his hand. And then I took his money, and let's just say I ran, and as I left the building my heart was filled with glee. I thought about what I'd done, and how I knew it was a forgery, me and old man McGee. That night at the supper hour, the old man sat with me. We had a laugh at the man's expense as we sat and drank our tea. You see, the old man was quite the painter. He could impersonate the lot. It didn't matter who it was, he could copy it on the spot. What they called a photographic memory, and a prodigy of such. Me not so much. But I could draw. Pencil and paper was my source. Not as good as the old man, for cartoon was my course. And there was another problem, I wasn't the best of crooks. I, myself, couldn't tell one painting from the other, even with the best of looks. It wasn't till he got up to stretch and fetch his pipe, did he notice the painting hidden from his sight. As he picked it up and walked past, he took a second look. Then frozen he stood. "Oh no, this cannot be, don't tell me, what have you done?" He rushed into the closet to look for another one. Now, like I said, the old man could copy anything, Da Vinci, Van Gogh, and even Grue. Monet was his favorite, so I knew he'd made a few. He even had originals that he purchased from Oscar himself. That's what he'd told me, but the chances are he nicked them off the shelf. Yes, my father was a swindler, a liar, and a cheat, but he could paint like nobody's business, and it kept us off the street. He made a nice wee business of taking people when he could. And this day, caught up in the moment, he conned himself, and that is never good. He yelled and then yelled louder, and then he yelled at me, cursing the day I was born and all the misery. When he came back out the closet, he sat quietly on the chair. Then he looked at me, and softly said, "Well, my son, it's clear. You'll have to nick it back, that's what you're to do, and you'll go before this night is through." "Oh, no," I said, "I can't, I will not, I won't." But he insisted with a left hook that nearly broke my jawbone. Then he shook his fist at me, "You'll do it, or you'll be dead. That painting's worth more to me than your sorry head. I'll go with you, and stand guard. You got to get it back." Fist a flailing in the air, "Do you want another crack? You know I can't climb the pipes not with my bad foot. And I can't shimmy in the window, not in my new suit. I didn't have a say in it, and I guess I was to blame. I was nothing like my old man even though we looked the same." And all the days that passed, he'd question every one. For he couldn't believe he had such a stupid son. Here is where the story should end, but I'm afraid it's just not right. For I was caught and locked in jail for a full fortnight. And the only reason my time was such was because of what I did. When questioned, under interrogation, I gave up that which had hid. My dear old dad was nowhere in sight when I got pinched. Although I think I heard him laughing at me underneath the bridge. The old man got 20 years for the crimes of what he did. And me, I stayed away from him, that's right, I hid. Soon all his forgeries became famous, for a rich man bought the lot. His talent on display, picture in the paper, a right old celebrity, all thanks to me. He'd painted many masterpieces for museums and art galleries. Commissioned by the king himself, yes, that's right, His Majesty. After 10 long years in prison, the old man he retired, caught a cold one day and from that he soon expired. And all the money that he'd earned, I never seen a penny. Despite I was his only kin, they said there wasn't any. It eased my mind a little, to know that I was on his mind in the end. That he hadn't forgot his only son and his only friend. A painting that he left me, I knew it right away, it was the one that Dad had gave me back in 1928. Only this one was newly painted, it done just before he passed. And across it in big red letters he signed. For you, stupid ass.